Dear beloved friend, good morning to you in this quiet hour when the world is still covered in the soft blue breath of dawn. This is the moment before the noise begins, when the air feels tender, almost sacred, as if heaven itself leans a little closer to listen. The light has not fully risen, but it is coming, and in this gentle space you and I pause together, not to rush into the day, but to awaken our spirits for what truly matters. Maybe you are listening today with a heart that feels heavier than your hands can carry. Maybe you woke up from a restless night, still fighting the same battles you fought yesterday. There are people who greet the morning with excitement, but perhaps you greeted it with a quiet sigh. Perhaps you carry a fear you have not spoken out loud, or a loss that still follows you like a shadow, or a worry that has made your chest feel tight for days. There is someone right now who has tried to be strong for too long, someone who wipes their tears before anyone sees them, someone who whispers in the dark, "I cannot do this alone." If that someone is you, take one slow breath. You are not alone in this moment, and you do not need to pretend to be stronger than you feel. This morning is not just another sunrise. It is an invitation, a doorway, a gentle hand extended to you, offering a path that leads from the weight of your reality into the presence of something greater than fear, greater than grief, greater than anything that has tried to break you. This is the hour when your spirit can shift, when your story can turn, when the burdens of yesterday can begin to loosen their grip. You are stepping into a spiritual journey that does not deny your pain, but transforms it. You may not realize it yet, but faith can rise even in trembling hands. Prayer can speak life even through a cracking voice. When you whisper truth into the silence listens. When you choose to believe there is hope beyond what your eyes can see, heaven moves on your behalf. The power of prayer is not in the volume of your words, but in the honesty of your heart. And this morning your heart is being welcomed into a place where battles shift, where peace breathes, where a new strength begins to form inside you. So open yourself gently. You do not need to force anything. Let the walls soften. Let the weight fall for a moment, and allow your soul to breathe again. You are stepping into a conversation that has been waiting for you. Conversation filled with truth, comfort, courage, and divine presence. Let every worry and every question come exactly as they are. Let every hope rise, even if it rises slowly. Now, take one more breath, and let your heart move toward the one who sees you, knows you, and longs to lift you. This is your moment to enter in. Dear Heavenly Father, this morning I come before you with a heart that trembles yet longs for your nearness. In this early hour, when the gentle blue light of dawn slowly stretches across the sky, I let my soul breathe and soften before you. I come without pretending, without trying to appear stronger than I feel, simply letting the quiet truth of my inner world rise to the surface. You know the weight I carry, the thoughts that pressed on me through the night, and the unspoken fears that linger at the edges of my mind. I open them to you now, trusting that nothing brought into your light is ever met with rejection. There are moments when I feel overwhelmed, moments when the shadows of yesterday stretch further than they should. Moments when I wonder if I can truly rise into the day ahead. But as I sit with you in this tender stillness, I sense the first stirrings of courage beginning to form, not from my own strength, but from the steady reassurance of your presence. You remind me that the small, fragile steps I take toward you are never ignored, and that your compassion holds me even when my confidence is thin. I ask that you quiet the anxious thoughts that try to rush ahead of me. Let them settle like dust beneath a gentle breeze. Help me release the burdens that cling to my heart, the memories that resurface without warning, and the uncertainties that make my spirit tremble. Let your peace rest on me like a warm covering, easing every tight place within me and giving me room to breathe again. Let the calm of this morning become a gentle refuge where my spirit can find rest. Father, guide me into a deeper awareness of your steady love. Teach me to recognize the subtle ways you move around me and within me. Let your whisper shape my focus, turning my gaze away from fear and toward the quiet assurance that you never leave me alone. Strengthen the places in me that feel worn. Lift the places that feel low, and illuminate the places that have been dimmed by doubt. As the morning light grows stronger, let it reflect the renewal you are offering my spirit. Help me welcome this day with honesty and humility, knowing that I do not walk into it by myself. Remind me that even small acts of trust can shift the atmosphere of my heart. Let this moment with you become the grounding place from which I move forward, steadied by your kindness and held by your grace. And as I step into the hours ahead, let the quiet courage you are forming within me continue to rise. Dear Father, meet me in the places where my hope feels thin. Expand my capacity to believe that new beginnings are possible, even when I do not see the full path ahead. Let your light seep into every hidden corner of my heart, clearing away the heaviness that tries to settle there. Help me to sense your nearness, not only in moments of peace, but also in the moments when I feel unsure of myself. Remind me gently that you are the one who walks beside me, guiding my steps even when I cannot clearly see the way forward. Teach me to breathe with intention today, to pause when my thoughts race, and to lean into your presence when worry begins to rise. Let your comfort wrap around the fragile parts of me that long for reassurance. Strengthen me from within so that my spirit does not falter at the first sign of difficulty. Let your wisdom quiet the noise around me and anchor me in truth that does not shift with circumstance. As I continue to rest in this morning moment, open my heart to receive the peace you offer so freely. Let it flow through me like a soft river, washing away the remnants of fear that tried to cling to me through the night. Let it settle into my thoughts, my emotions, and my intentions so that everything I face today is touched by your calming presence. Help me remember that I am held, supported, and deeply loved, even when I struggle to understand the situations surrounding me. Father, guide my steps with tenderness. Let each decision I make be shaped by clarity rather than panic. Lead me away from discouragement and into steady confidence that grows from knowing you are near. Allow the warmth of this early light to become a reminder that every day carries the possibility of renewal. Let your faithfulness be the quiet foundation beneath my feet, steadying me with each step I take into the unfolding of this day. Let this morning become a gentle turning point for my spirit, a place where I choose to release what I cannot control and trust that you are already working in ways I cannot yet see. Help me to move through this day with openness, steadiness, and a quiet expectation that your goodness will meet me in unexpected moments. Let every breath remind me that I am not alone, and let every step carry the quiet strength that grows from your unending love. As I rise from this moment, let a soft confidence rest upon me. Let it remind me that even small beginnings hold power. Keep my heart steady as I walk into this new day. Let hope rise, Toda. Father, as I step into this new moment with you, I feel the gentle continuation of the stillness that settled over my heart earlier, as if the quiet strength you placed within me is beginning to stretch and breathe. The thoughts I carried from the moments before linger softly, and I sense them shifting into something steadier, something that invites me to trust you more deeply as I move forward into this unfolding morning. I come to you now with a spirit that is still tender, but more open than before, aware that the first stirring of courage does not have to be loud to be real. I let the slow rhythm of my breath become a reminder that you are present with me, guiding my steps with patience and kindness. I acknowledge the subtle way your peace continues to weave itself through the fragile places within me, easing what once felt too tight to hold. Lord, I ask that you help me loosen the grip of the worries that try to shape my focus. Let every anxious thought drift away like a fading echo, losing its hold as your reassurance moves gently through my mind. Teach me to step out of the patterns that make me shrink back and into the calm confidence that grows from trusting your steady companionship. Remind me that I do not need to control what unfolds. I only need to stay close to you. As I quiet myself, I begin to recognize how your presence softens the edges of my fear and invites me into a deeper steadiness. Let this awareness deepen with each passing moment. Let my thoughts become clearer and my emotions more anchored, not because everything around me is simple, but because you are the calm within the complexity. Help me recognize the strength that grows from leaning into you, not from trying to stand alone. God, let this morning become a place where my hope expands beyond what my eyes can see. Let it rise slowly but firmly, giving shape to new possibilities that once felt too distant to believe in. Allow my heart to respond to this hope, letting it settle in the spaces that doubt once filled. Teach me to recognize the gentle ways you open doors, shift atmospheres, and guide me toward paths I once feared to walk. I ask that you steady the thoughts that wander into uncertainty. Let them be gathered gently, like scattered leaves drawn into a quiet corner by a soft breeze. Let every part of me that feels unsettled find rest in the assurance that you move even in silence, that your guidance is not always loud, but always present. Help me remain attentive to the quiet signs of your direction, trusting that I will not be left without clarity. Lord, let this time with you shape the posture of my heart for the hours ahead. Let patience flow through me when I feel rushed, and let compassion rise within me when I meet moments that stretch my understanding. Remind me that strength does not always reveal itself in force, but often in the gentle resilience that grows from a peaceful spirit. Let this resilience take root within me, giving me the confidence to move with grace rather than fear. As I reflect inward, help me release the need to solve everything at once. Let me take one step, then the next, guided not by pressure but by your quiet leading. Lift any discouragement that lingers and replace it with a soft expectation that good things can unfold even in uncertain places. Let my spirit lean into this truth, allowing it to lighten the weight I once carried so heavily. Father, let this moment deepen the connection between my heart and yours. Let the quiet trust forming within me continue to grow, reaching into the corners of my thoughts and reshaping them with gentleness. Guide me into a day where I walk not with tension, but with openness, where I move not with hesitation, with a steady awareness that I am supported by a love that does not waver. And as this awareness settles fully within me, let it shape the way I breathe, the way I hope, and the way I step forward into everything that awaits. Let this quiet unfolding become a foundation beneath my feet, giving me steadiness for the moments that stretch me. Let each breath draw me deeper into trust, reminding me that I do not walk through this day by my own strength. Surround my thoughts with clarity so that confusion loses its influence, and let each choice I make come from a grounded place within me. Help me notice the gentle nudges that move me toward what renews my spirit. Let gratitude rise naturally as I recognize the subtle mercies woven into my path. Allow me to slow my pace when my thoughts begin to scatter, letting the calm of your presence bring balance to my emotions. As this morning unfolds, let the hope forming within me become a quiet strength that carries me through every interaction and uncertainty. Let it rise steadily, reminding me that even small moments hold meaning when touched by your guidance. Let this gentle hope continue to grow within me, giving me courage to welcome what this day brings with the steady heart and calm. God, as my heart continues to move forward from where I left my thoughts in the quiet moment before, I sense a deeper stirring within me, like something long asleep, finally shifting toward the surface. The stillness around me feels almost transparent, as if I am walking through a soft veil of early light. And in that gentle calm, I realize how much I have yearned for a place where my fears can fall away without being judged. I come to you with this quiet recognition growing in me, aware that trust is not born in a single breath, but in the slow unfolding of every fragile step I offer. I bring to you the memories that kept me awake in the darker hours, the worries that climbed into my chest before dawn, the questions that whispered at the edges of my hope. I bring them without hiding them, because I am beginning to understand that honest openness is the pathway back to safety. And you meet me there even when I feel undeserving. As I breathe slowly, I can feel the tension that usually gathers inside me loosening just a bit, like a knot that is no longer pulling as tightly as before. I sense that this shift is not from my own strength, but from the simple truth that you are near, watching the quiet rise and fall of my breath, seeing the tremble beneath my attempts at courage. I am learning that trust does not demand perfection. It only asks me to lean gently in your direction. With every moment I pause to acknowledge your presence, I feel something subtle beginning to anchor me, as if an unseen hand is steadying the part of me that has been unbalanced for so long. In this growing stillness, I can almost hear a reassurance rising through the silence, telling me that I am held even when I am unsure, guided even when I cannot see clearly, carried even when I feel weak. And as this realization spreads, I begin to look back at the fears that once felt immovable. They have not vanished, but they no longer loom with the same force, because now I am standing in a space where your nearness changes the weight of everything. The uncertainties that pressed on my chest earlier feel lighter simply because I am not facing them alone. I feel a quiet invitation to surrender the urge to control the outcomes I cannot predict, to release the grip I held on decisions that were never mine to hold so tightly. I sense you gently asking me to shift my focus from what scares me to the one who walks with me. This shift feels tender, almost delicate, yet powerful in a quiet way, like realizing that the sky is beginning to brighten even while the ground is still dim. As I keep speaking from this vulnerable place, a question rises naturally within me. What would happen if I trusted you more deeply than my fears? Even for just this moment, I feel something soften when I ask it. I imagine the way morning light spreads across a quiet field, not rushing, not forcing itself, simply arriving with steady certainty, revealing what darkness had hidden but never erased. That image gently echoes inside me, reminding me that trust grows in the same way. It does not demand sudden leaps, simply invites me to take one calm breath, one steady step, one honest turning of the heart toward you. And so I take that step now, offering you the quiet truth that I want to trust you more than I trust the worries that have shaped my nights. With each passing moment, this desire grows clearer. I feel the remnants of fear loosening their hold, not because I have conquered them, but because your peace is beginning to settle around them like soft light surrounding a shadow. In this place of slow awakening, I choose to let your steadiness quiet the noise within me. I choose to let your strength fill the spaces where mine has worn thin. I choose to let your faithfulness shape my hope for this day, knowing that every challenge ahead meets a presence far greater than my anxiety. And as this truth takes root within me, I continue to lean into you, trusting that you will guide me through the paths I do not yet understand, steady my spirit when doubt rises, and lift my heart as morning unfolds. Father, as my heart continues to unfold from the place where I left my thoughts, I sense a gentle pull drawing me deeper into the stillness that has begun to calm the restless spaces within me. The quiet trust that started to awaken earlier feels like it is settling more firmly now, not as something dramatic or overwhelming, but as a steady presence reminding me that I do not walk through this morning alone. I come to you with a spirit that is slowly learning how to breathe without fear, how to lean without hesitation, how to rest in the comfort of knowing that your guidance reaches me even before I ask. There is a tender awareness rising within me, something soft yet strong, telling me that I am being led with a care that does not falter. This realization brings a subtle warmth to the places within me that have long felt cold, as if the first hints of morning light are touching corners I once thought were beyond healing. As I reflect on the paths that stretch before me, I notice how often I have rushed ahead, trying to make sense of everything before it unfolded. trying to hold answers that were not yet meant for me. But here, in this quiet space with you, I feel a soft invitation to slow down, to trust that clarity will come not through force, but through the gentle leading you offer. I sense that every step I take today will be steadier if I allow your guidance to shape my direction. This realization lifts a quiet weight from my shoulders, loosening the pressure I often place on myself to know everything in advance. I begin to understand that wisdom is not something I must chase. It is something you place gently in my path, one moment at a time, when I am still enough to receive it. As this awareness settles, I begin to release the urge to control outcomes that were never meant to be mine to manage. I feel the tension that once pressed heavily on my thoughts, slowly loosening, almost like a tight thread unraveling without resistance. In that soft unwinding, I notice how much of my anxiety has been rooted in carrying burdens that you never intended for me to bear alone. There is a gentle peace rising within me as I recognize that surrendering to your guidance is not an act of weakness, but a step toward the kind of strength that grows from trust. This strength feels different from anything I could create through my own effort. It is calmer, steadier, and far more enduring. It meets me in the fragile places, lifting the weight I have carried in silence, reminding me that I am supported with a depth of care that does not shift with my circumstances. In this unfolding calm, I ask you to shape my steps with wisdom that reaches beyond what I can see. Let your insight move through the choices I will make today, guiding me away from paths that drain my spirit and toward those that nurture the roots of faith growing within me. As I lean into this moment, I can feel hope taking deeper form, not as a sudden surge, but as a quiet assurance that stays steady even as the day ahead unfolds. With each breath, I choose to trust that you will lead me gently, carrying me through moments that feel uncertain and strengthening me for the ones that require courage. In this deepening stillness, I feel my spirit softening in ways I have long hoped for yet could never create on my own, as if your nearness is loosening the fears that once held me tightly. I begin to notice small shifts within me, gentle reminders that the strength you offer is not loud or demanding, but quiet, patient, and unwavering, meeting me in the spaces where I have often felt unseen. As I look ahead to the hours waiting beyond this moment, I sense that your guidance is already reaching into places I have not yet entered, preparing what I will need before I know to ask. I trust that even in the moments when uncertainty tries to rise again, your steady presence will meet me before fear can take hold, reminding me that I am never without direction. Let this assurance settle into the deepest parts of who I am, shaping my thoughts, steadying my heart, and guiding my steps with a clarity that does not depend on what I can understand, but on who you are. As I continue forward, let the quiet confidence of your guidance shape the way I see challenges, helping me walk with steadiness as this day unfolds. Lord, as my heart continues its quiet movement from the still place where I rested with you, I sense a deeper courage beginning to rise within me, not loud or sudden, but forming like a slow breath that strengthens without demanding attention. The calm you planted in me earlier has begun to stretch wider, filling corners of my soul that once tightened at the first hint of pressure. I come to you now with this gentle readiness, aware that I am stepping into a new space inside myself, one shaped not by fear, but by the quiet persistence of hope. There is something steady forming beneath my thoughts, a growing awareness that your guidance has already begun to prepare the path ahead of me before my feet even touch it. This subtle reassurance brings warmth into places that once felt uncertain, reminding me that renewal does not need to arrive with noise. It can come softly, yet carry a strength that endures. I can sense how the thoughts that once circled endlessly in my mind now seem to slow, as if the noise that used to take over has softened into something manageable. There is a shift happening in the way I see myself, a soft understanding that I do not have to approach this day with the same burdens I carried before. You are shaping my outlook in ways I could not have imagined, helping me release expectations that were too heavy and fears that were too familiar. As this release continues, I notice a clearer space opening inside me, a place where new strength can take root without being overshadowed by old patterns. This space feels like a quiet room within my spirit, where I can breathe more freely, where I can trust that you are forming something steady and lasting within me. As this truth settles, I ask you to help me step into this day with a heart ready to grow. Let the renewal you are stirring within me reach into places I have avoided, places where old doubts lingered longer than they should have. I want to walk with a confidence that comes from being anchored in something unshakable, not driven by pressure or fear. Guide me as I begin to make choices today, helping me discern what leads me toward peace and what pulls me away from the direction you are shaping. In this unfolding awareness, I feel a soft courage rising, one that reminds me that new beginnings often start quietly, forming beneath the surface before they reveal themselves in my actions. In this deepening awareness, I ask for the courage to let go of the patterns that no longer serve me. Help me release the habits that drain my energy and the thoughts that rob me of the calm you are cultivating within me. Remind me that renewal is not a single moment, but a continuous turning toward what brings life to my spirit. I want to carry this understanding with me as I move from one moment to the next. Let your guidance flow through my decisions, shaping the way I speak, the way I listen, and the way I respond when challenges arise. Allow this gentle strengthening to continue guiding me, helping me stand with steadiness even when I face situations that once made me hesitate. As I rest in this space of renewal, I offer you every part of my spirit that is ready to grow, even the parts that tremble a little as they begin to change. Meet me in the tender corners of my heart and guide me gently as I learn to live with greater calm, deeper trust, and stronger courage. Let the quiet work you are doing within me continue to unfold as this day moves forward, shaping me into someone who walks with steady faith and open expectation. As I continue to lean into this quiet renewal, I feel a gentle invitation to trust that even the smallest steps forward matter. They are shaping the path beneath my feet in ways I cannot yet see, forming a foundation that grows stronger each time I choose faith over worry. Let this awareness deepen within me, settling like a calm rhythm that steadies my thoughts and helps me remain present. As the day unfolds, guide me with a clarity that does not rush me but leads me with patience. reminding me that what you build within me will last beyond this moment. I trust that this quiet strength you are building within me will continue to guide my steps, helping me face each moment with steadiness and purpose. Let this courage stay close as I move through whatever comes, shaping my reactions, calming my thoughts, and reminding me that I am never walking alone under your gentle guidance. Father, as my spirit moved gently from the quiet renewal I found in the moments before, I feel a deeper steadiness beginning to take shape within me. It unfolds slowly, almost like a calm current beneath still waters, reminding me that the courage you planted in me is not meant to remain hidden. It is meant to rise, to help me meet this day with a heart anchored in something far stronger than anything I have carried on. My own. I sense this shift happening quietly, without force, almost as if you are whispering reassurance into the places where uncertainty once lived. I come to you with this awareness growing softly in my chest, knowing that the peace you offer is not fragile or fleeting, but steady and deeply rooted, capable of holding me even when my thoughts begin to drift. As I breathe into this moment, I notice how the weight I once felt pressing against my thoughts has begun to loosen. There is a lightness forming where heaviness used to settle, a gentle reminder that I am not meant to face the challenges of this day with the same strained effort that once drained my strength. You are teaching me how to rise with calm instead of tension, how to move with quiet confidence instead of fear. This understanding sinks deeper with every steady breath, helping me recognize that true strength is not loud or demanding. It is the quiet ability to stay grounded even when the world around me pulls in different directions. I ask you to help me carry this strength with grace. Let it reach into the parts of me that still hesitate when uncertainty appears. Teach me to respond with patience instead of panic, clarity instead of confusion, and trust instead of worry. Let this day become a place where I learn to walk with a new steadiness, shaped not by my own effort, but by the presence that goes before me and remains beside me. I want to step into the hours ahead with a spirit that is calm, centered, and aware of the help that surrounds me in ways I cannot always see. As this desire grows, I offer you every lingering fear that tries to rise again, every thought that attempts to pull me back into old patterns. Meet me in those moments and guide my heart back to peace. Help me notice the quiet ways you strengthen me, especially when I feel unprepared or overwhelmed. Let the assurance of your nearness settle into my responses, shaping the tone of my voice, the posture of my heart, and the choices I will need to make. In this unfolding calm, remind me that rising with peace is not a sign of weakness, but a reflection of trust. A quiet declaration that I believe you are present in every step I take. As I continue resting in this gentle strength, I sense an invitation to move through this day with an open spirit. Let me receive what is meant to shape me and release what no longer helps me grow. Guide me with clarity that does not rush me, but steadies me, helping me see that each moment carries a purpose even when it feels ordinary. Let this awareness form a soft, enduring courage within me, one that rises quietly and walks with me as the day unfolds, reminding me that I am upheld by a peace far deeper than anything I could create on my own. As I lean further into this awareness, I feel a quiet shift that encourages me to release the pressure I often place on myself. Help me embrace the truth that I do not need to prove my strength or hide my fragility. Let me remember that you meet me exactly where I am, offering support that does not waver when my confidence does. I want to move through this day with a spirit that trusts in your steadiness more than it fears my own limitations. Allow this trust to build gradually, becoming a calm anchor within me. In moments when I feel resistance rising within me, let your gentle peace remind me that I do not need to rush or force anything into place. Help me approach each task with patience, knowing that your presence surrounds even the simplest parts of my day. Let this calm assurance reach into the deeper corners of my thoughts, dissolving the tension that tries to return and replacing it with a sense of quiet readiness. I want to greet this day not with worry, but with expectation, believing that you are shaping something meaningful within me. As this confidence deepens, teach me to notice the subtle ways you guide me. Let me hear the soft nudges that encourage me forward, the quiet reminders that help me pause, and the gentle invitations that draw me toward peace. Let these moments form a steady rhythm within me, helping me recognize that strength can be soft and courage can be quiet. I want this realization to influence how I move, how I speak, and how I respond to what unfolds around me. Let every breath become a reminder that I am supported by a presence that remains steady. And as I continue walking through this day, let this growing peace shape every part of my journey, guiding me with a calm that remains firm even when circumstances shift, reminding me that I rise today with a strength rooted in you, God. As I continue from the space of peace you helped me enter, I find myself breathing more freely, no longer grasping for control, but opening to the mystery of what lies ahead. The steady strength you have built within me through the quiet hours is beginning to feel more familiar, like a rhythm I can return when the pace of the day tries to pull me away from myself. I come to you now with a heart that is learning not just to ask for direction, but to trust it even before I understand it. I do not need every detail to feel secure, because you have proven that your presence is not dependent on clarity. It meets me just as fully in mystery as it does in revelation. I recognize now that the journey you are leading me through will not always offer clear signs or loud confirmations. Sometimes it unfolds in silence, in ordinary decisions, in the moments when no one is watching but you. Help me trust these hidden places, the spaces where my faith is shaped not by what I see, but by how I choose to walk when the way is still uncertain. Let me carry this trust like a quiet light inside me, one that helps me keep moving forward even when the road curves beyond my view. In this unfolding awareness, I ask that you keep reminding me that I do not have to be perfect to be led. I do not have to have every answer to be guided. I simply need to stay open to your presence, even when I feel unsure. Let this humility be my anchor and my strength. Teach me to listen for your voice, not just in the stillness, but also in the questions, in the pauses, in the unexpected turns. Help me see that being led does not always feel certain, but it always leads me closer to who you created me to become. Let this day become a place where I stop measuring my progress by what I achieve and start noticing it, how I stay close to you. Let me find comfort not in knowing exactly where I am going, but in knowing that you go with me. As I face choices that feel complex or weighty, settle my spirit before I move. Remind me that even one quiet step made in trust carries more strength than 100 hurried decisions made in fear. Let this deeper trust shape the posture of my heart today, so that I move not with pressure, but with peace. As I continue walking through this day, I ask you to meet me in the spaces that feel ordinary, the moments that may not seem significant on the surface, but carry hidden opportunities for grace. Help me remember that not everything sacred feels dramatic. Sometimes the most meaningful steps I take are the quiet ones that no one sees, the ones that bring me closer to peace, to patience, to kindness. Let me not miss those moments, because I am searching for something louder or more visible. When I feel pulled into the noise of comparison or the pressure to perform, draw me back to the truth that I am loved as I am, not for what I produce or prove. Let that truth shape the way I show up in each conversation, each task, each still space. Teach me to be present not just with others, but with myself, noticing when my thoughts drift toward fear and gently guiding them back to trust. Let my mind be a place where your peace can rest, where faith can settle and expand, even when the world outside is uncertain. Help me slow down enough to notice the beauty you have placed in my path today. The light resting on a wall, the stillness between sounds, the kindness in someone's tone. Let these details be reminders that you are here, that I do not have to wait for a future moment to find you. You are already near, already moving, already guiding me through the present with quiet love, and as I recognize these signs, however small, let them draw me into deeper gratitude. Let thankfulness become the lens through which I view the unknown. I want this gratitude to soften my reactions, to shape my responses, to remind me that there is goodness woven into even the uncertain parts of this journey. Let it help me trust that you are using all of it, the clear moments and the confusing ones, the rest and the movement, the questions and the quiet answers, to lead me closer to the life you have imagined for me. And as I continue forward, let my heart remain open, not only to where you are taking me, but to who you are becoming in me as I walk this path. Let that truth shape the pace of my steps, the tone of my voice, and the posture of my heart. Let it remind me that I do not walk alone into the unknown. Even when I cannot see the full road ahead, I can trust the one who walks beside me. Let this trust become the compass I follow today, not shaped by fear or urgency, but by the steady assurance that you are with me, guiding me through mystery with mercy, through silence with wisdom, through every moment with love that does not waver. Let this reminder remain close to me, especially in moments when I feel unsure or unseen. Let it speak louder than fear, clearer than doubt, deeper than weariness. Let it be the voice I return to again and again as I move through this day. Father, as I continue from the quiet trust you have shaped in me, I feel a deeper grounding forming beneath the surface of my heart. Each step I have taken with you this morning has drawn me closer to a place where I no longer need to force clarity, because I am learning to rest in the grace that holds me even when understanding has not yet come. I return to you now not with urgency, but with a steady openness. I know you are near not just when I feel confident, but also when I feel unsure. That knowing is enough to quiet my striving and bring stillness into the center of me. Let this grace become the lens through which I see everything today. When I encounter difficulty, let grace soften my instinct to react with fear. When I feel tired, let grace become the pause that reminds me to breathe slowly and fully. Let it quiet the harsh voice within that tells me I must do more, be more, prove more. Instead, speak a new voice over me, one that reminds me that I am not walking toward grace as a reward, but walking with grace as a companion. Let this truth rearrange the pace of my steps and help me move with calm intention instead of constant urgency. As I breathe deeper into this awareness, I feel the strain of old expectations losing their grip. You are replacing them with something gentler, something more aligned with who you truly are, not demanding, but faithful, not distant, but present. Help me stay near to that presence today. Help me lean on it when I am faced with what feels bigger than me. Let that nearness be my calm when pressure rises, my peace when questions return, my direction when I feel unsure of which way to go. In this still unfolding trust, I ask you to help me release what does not serve the life you are forming in me. Let me let go of patterns that keep me tangled in worry or stuck in old shame. Free me from the assumption that I have to earn what you have already given. Let me move with grace, not only toward myself but toward others. Let my compassion grow as I remember how gently you have walked with me through every anxious step, every restless prayer, every silence that felt like waiting. Let that same gentleness define how I show up in the world today. Let this grace guide how I speak today, how I respond, how I listen. Let it steady my words, soften my edges, and stretch my patience in moments that feel tight. Let it remind me that I am not defined by what I get right or wrong, but by the love that keeps reaching for me, even when I falter. I want that love to be visible, not only in how I talk about you, but in how I carry myself in the quiet parts of the day. Let my presence reflect what I have received, a peace that does not need to be earned, a kindness that remains even when things do not go as planned. Let this moment be a reminder that I am being reshaped from the inside out, not in grand leaps, but in daily surrender. Each time I choose to return to grace, I am returning to the truth of who I am in you, known, held, and steadily being made new. So as I move into this day, help me walk with a confidence that is rooted not in my strength, but in your grace. Let that grace be the filter over my thoughts, the rhythm beneath my steps, and the softness behind my words. Let it go with me into conversations, into quiet decisions, into all the in-between places where no one else sees but you. Let it remind me that transformation does not always look like victory. It often looks like staying, breathing, trying again. I want to keep showing up, and I want grace to be what carries me when I forget how. And when I come to the end of this day, let me look back not with judgment, but with gentle awareness. Help me see how grace held me, how it shaped what I gave and what I released, how it helped me try, and how it met me in my limitations. Let me be more aware of how you were present than how I performed. Let me be more grateful than critical, more soft than stern, more rested than rushed. Let this be the fruit of grace working its way through every layer of who I am. Let this way of walking become more than a morning prayer. Let it become a posture I carry, a way I live, a space I return to no matter how far the day takes me. Let this grace travel with me, not as a fleeting emotion, but as a firm foundation I can trust. And as I breathe in that truth once more, I offer this moment to you completely, knowing that even now, you are making all things new in me, slowly, kindly, faithfully, and always in love. Let this grace continue to grow roots in my responses, in my thoughts, in the small decisions that add up to the person I am becoming. Let it be the quiet strength that carries me when I forget how to carry myself. Let it be the gentle echo that stays with me long after the words have faded, shaping the way I rise again tomorrow, slowly and surely. Lord, as I continue this journey with you, shaped now by a rhythm of grace and steady trust, I feel a quiet calling to slow down even more, not out of fatigue, but to pay deeper attention. The world around me is already rushing, spinning fast with decisions, demands, distractions. But you invite me into something different, something slower, something sacred. I come to you this morning not to accomplish, but to dwell, to sit with you in the stillness that does not need to be earned. I bring no achievement today, only my presence. And even that feels like enough when I remember you are near. Help me live this day without racing past it. Let me receive each hour like a gift rather than a hurdle. Let me hear the silence between sounds and see the pauses as invitations. I know that stillness is not the absence of movement. It is the fullness of presence. Teach me to bring that presence into how I walk, how I work, how I speak, how I see. Let everything I do today be done with a spirit that has first rested in you. I ask that you anchor me when noise tries to define my pace, when the world around me says I must move faster. Remind me that some of the most powerful things you do happen in quiet places. When others expect a reaction, let me respond from peace. When I am tempted to multitask my way through sacred moments, pull me back into now. Let the habit of being still before you transform how I engage with everything after. Let it change my posture, my tone, my presence. I sense you calling me not to escape the day, but to enter it with intention, to walk through it slowly enough that I notice what matters, to move gently enough that I do not miss the small wonders you have placed in my path. Let me notice the way light touches a surface, the expression in someone's eyes, the breath before a word is spoken. Let me treat each moment like it carries weight, because it does. Let me not miss it while waiting for something larger to arrive. And when interruptions come, as they will help me not to see them as obstacles, but as opportunities to return to presence. Let me welcome the unexpected with grace. Let me listen with patience when others need space. Let me pause before assuming, breathe before responding, and reflect before reacting. Let that pause become a habit, a sacred rhythm that shifts the tone of my day. Let the time I spend in stillness not make me passive, but more attentive, more responsive to what is real and right in front of me. In this quiet way of living, I ask you to show me how to remain soft in a world that often feels hard. Let gentleness be my strength. Let peace be my resistance. Let patience be the power I carry into conflict, into noise, into uncertainty. Let me carry stillness like a lamp, not to hide behind, but to shine a clearer way forward, not only for myself, but for those around me. Make my life a quiet answer in a loud world. When fear tells me I am falling behind, remind me that I was never meant to race others. When comparison creeps in, help me return to your pace. When anxiety insists that I need to do more to be enough, show me again that being with you is already enough. Help me live from that truth, not just when it is quiet, but when the pressure builds, when I feel unseen, when I doubt what I carry. In those moments, anchor me again. Let me return to you without shame, knowing that stillness is always available, always waiting, always enough. And as I walk forward into the rest of this day, let every small thing become sacred. Let me treat the next conversation like it matters, the next task like it carries purpose, the next moment like it holds you. Let me end the day not by checking what I completed, but by remembering how I showed up with presence, with peace, with stillness that was not empty but filled with you. Let this stillness go with me wherever I go, not as silence alone, but as focus, as intention, as softness woven into action. Let it follow me into noise and return me to truth when I drift. Let it become the language beneath my decisions, the peace behind my words, the pause between my thoughts. Let it help me walk slower, not because I lack purpose, but because I am sure of it. Let this stillness draw me toward what is real, what is kind, what is lasting. Even when the day pulls hard on my time or emotions, let me remember that stillness is not something I lose, it is something I can return to. It is a choice, a breath, a turning of my heart back to yours. Let me return as many times as I need to, without guilt, without hesitation. Just return and find you still there, always waiting, not with frustration, but with welcome, not with impatience, but with love. Let that welcome become the way I greet others. Let that patience become the way I respond to myself. Let that rhythm of grace and stillness become more than a moment. It becomes my way forward. Steady, whole, and quietly alive. Let it steady me through this day and into the next, reminding me that your nearness is not earned through effort, but revealed through rest, through breath, through stillness that listens and trusts. God, as I continue this unfolding walk with you, I notice how peace is not something I chase, but something I return to again and again. It meets me not because I reach high enough or still myself perfectly, but because you remain unmoved, present, welcoming. I come to you now not because I have mastered the art of peace, but because I still forget. I still get caught in worry, in noise, in the invisible weight I place on my own shoulders. And yet, when I pause even briefly, I find that peace was never far. It had simply been waiting, and you with it. Let this moment become a reminder that I can return to that place at any time. Not just in the early hours, but in traffic, in tension, in tiredness. Let me remember that peace is not something separate from my reality. It can live right in the middle of it. Help me carry that awareness into the rest of this day. Help me notice when I start to drift, when my breath shortens, my pace quickens, my tone sharpens. Help me recognize those shifts not as failure, but as signals, gentle nudges to return to calm, to stillness. To you, I ask that you make me aware of the many places you plant peace around me. In the rhythm of footsteps, in the quiet between words, in the steady breath I so often overlook, in the kindness I receive and the grace I am asked to give. Let these become small altars where I remember that you are here, not waiting at the finish line, but walking with me step by step. I do not need to perform to keep you close. I simply need to remember and return again and again. Let that returning shape how I see others today. When someone speaks from fear, let me respond from peace. When I witness frustration, let my calm become a counterweight. When conflict tempts me to match its pace, remind me I can pause, breathe, and choose another tone, not to avoid truth, but to carry it gently. Let me become someone who does not add to the chaos, but helps soften it with presence, with stillness, with love that does not need to prove itself to be real. As I walk through ordinary tasks, I ask you to fill those spaces with meaning. Let the quiet routines become reminders that stability can be holy, that repetition can be reverent. Let me stir peace into the details. How I fold laundry, answer a message, prepare a meal, respond to a question. Let the sacred not be reserved for silence alone, but woven into my motion. Let peace travel with me in movement, not just in rest. Even in discomfort, let me look for the place where peace is trying to speak. When something unexpected interrupts my plan, let me not rush to frustration, but pause to ask what you might be revealing. When I feel stretched thin, let me take one breath slower, one word gentler, one thought quieter. Remind me that the presence of tension does not cancel the presence of peace. They can exist together, one rising higher only when I choose where to place my attention. Let that choice be my strength, the choice to return, the choice to remain soft, the choice to notice the quiet within the noise. Let me not wait for a perfect moment to access peace, but let me practice returning to it again and again until it becomes the place I live from, not just the place I visit. Let it shape the pace of my day, the space I hold for others, the way I hold myself. So as I move forward, help me carry peace not as a perfect performance, but as a posture I return to. Let me be patient with the process. Let me not demand that peace be constant, but let me trust that it is available even when I forget. Let me notice how it returns to me in a soft voice, not accusing but inviting, a gentle whisper reminding me that it is not too late to begin again. And when I reach the end of the day, let peace be the final word, not whether I finished every task, not whether I got it all right, but whether I returned, whether I noticed, whether I softened instead of hardened, whether I slowed instead of rushed, whether I let love lead. even when fear tried to take the front seat. Let that become the question that matters most. And in answering it, let my heart rest, not because the day was perfect, but because I remembered what mattered. Because I remembered you. Because I returned to peace again and again, and found you waiting there each time. Let that return become my rhythm. Let it follow me into tomorrow. Let it walk beside me when I forget who I am. Let it pull me gently back when I drift. Let it be the light I notice even in the fog. Let it be the thread that holds me steady when the weave of the day begins to fray. Let it be the story I tell with the way I move, the way I speak, the way I pause, the way I begin again. Let me carry this rhythm, not only in silence, but in sound, not only in solitude, but in connection. Let peace be the invisible thread that turns ordinary hours into sacred ground. Let it settle inside me deeply enough that it begins to shape how I live, how I love, how I return again and again. And in every return, let me find you still there, unchanged and always welcoming. Let that returning become my quiet practice throughout the day, not a dramatic shift, but a subtle turning of attention. In the middle of conversation, in the middle of frustration, in the middle of noise, a breath, a pause, a whisper within that says, "You are safe. You are seen. You can rest here." I want that whisper to shape my rhythms, not just in the morning, but in the hallway, the kitchen, the desk, the phone call. Let peace be the thread that ties my hours together. So even when the day feels scattered, I am not. Show me how to live from this center, not by gripping harder, but by loosening, not by running faster, but by noticing more clearly. Help me feel when I start to lean into striving again, when I start proving something to myself or others. Help me stop in that moment and return not to perfection, but to presence, not to performance, but to belonging. Let me not treat peace like a reward I must earn, but like a place I am always allowed to enter. There is a different kind of strength that comes from living this way, a strength that does not rise with force, but settles with trust. A strength that does not try to dominate the moment, but meets it with compassion. Teach me that this stillness is not weakness, it is where clarity comes from, where truth has room to be heard, where love is not rushed, where grace can take root. Let that strength expand inside of me. Quietly, let it stretch into the way I respond to tension, into the way I hold space for someone else's story. Let it be heard in the calm between my sentences. Let it be felt in the peace behind my eyes. Even if no one notices, let me notice. Even if no one names it, let me protect it, because it matters not just for me, but for the atmosphere I carry, for the presence I bring into every room. And when I feel like I have forgotten again, like I have been pulled out of stillness by a sharp word or a flood of expectation, let me notice the moment before I spiral. Let me recognize the choice still have, that it is never too late to pause, never too late to take one steady breath, never too late to return. Father, as I continue walking this path with you, I feel you drawing my attention not just to beginnings and endings, but to the middle, the hours that stretch between the quiet of morning and the closing of day, the middle moments that so often get overlooked, where peace seems harder to hold and presence easier to lose. I bring this middle ground to you now. Not polished, not dramatic, just full of movement, decisions, emotion, and fatigue. I bring it without shame, trusting that you dwell just as fully here. Help me stop dividing my days into sacred and ordinary. Show me how to meet you in the middle when my focus wavers, when my schedule crowds in, when I feel both too much and not enough. Let those moments become invitations rather than indictments. Let me turn them into spaces where I breathe again, even if only for a moment. And remember that you are still near. When I forget the beauty of the present because I am too focused on what is next, gently return me. When I rush past the quiet moments because I do not think they count, slow me with a whisper. When I think I need to push through in my own strength, remind me that I was never meant to carry the weight alone. Let the middle of the day become my altar, just as much as the beginning was. Let me not reserve your presence for mornings and evenings. Let it fill the space in between. Let the middle of the day be where I practice noticing again, noticing the tension in my shoulders and choosing to soften, noticing the way sunlight moves across a surface and letting that light in, noticing when I raise my voice or rush my tone and choosing instead to return to kindness. Let these be the small ways I return to you. Without fanfare, without ceremony, just breath, just stillness, just a turning back. When I feel the pull to measure this day by what I have completed, realign me with a better measure presence. Not productivity. Let peace interrupt my expectations. Let stillness reorder my attention. Let love become the goal again. And again, let my value not be determined by how many things I finish before nightfall, by the way I show up in the middle of it all, still anchored, still listening, still returning. Show me how to make space in the middle, even just a few moments, a step outside, a deep breath, a glance towards something beautiful, a silent prayer. Let these pauses become places where I remember who I'm not a machine, not a performer, but a soul in process, one that is still being shaped, still being led, still deeply loved even when the day feels chaotic or unclear. If frustration finds me, let it not undo me. If weariness visits me, let it not define me. Let me sit with them, acknowledge them, and still choose peace. Let me bring even the mess of the middle to you. I do not want to compartmentalize my life into moments I offer you and moments I do not. I want it all to belong. I want to know that you meet me just as fully when I am answering emails or managing interruptions as when I am praying. In silence, let no part of me feel too common to be sacred. Let the middle become meaningful simply because you are here in it. So as this day stretches forward, help me walk it differently, not faster, not more efficiently, but with deeper awareness that you are here. Help me trust that holiness is not something I visit, but something I carry, something I bring with me into every room, every task, Every moment I return to myself and to you. And even when I forget, even when the hours slip by in a blur, let grace meet me again in the middle, not to scold, but to welcome, not to demand perfection, but to remind me I am still loved. Let every ordinary hour become an invitation to receive what I need, release what I do not, and remember that I am not moving through this day alone. Even in the busiest part of my schedule, even in the most distracted corner of my heart, you are still speaking. You are still steady. You are still ready to guide me, to quiet me, to remind me that the middle is not a place to survive, it is a place where I can return again and find rest in you. Let this rest become more than a pause, it becomes a posture. Let it carry me not out of the day, but deeper into it. Let it remind me that even as I move, I can remain grounded, even as I engage. I can remain centered, even as I speak. I can remain at peace. Let that peace be felt by those I meet, heard in the words I choose, and seen in the way I honor this present moment. And if I lose my way in the hours ahead, remind me that returning does not require perfection, only willingness. One deep breath, one moment of awareness, one quiet turning of my heart toward home. And home is always with you, even in the middle, even in the noise. Even now, let truth settle in the parts of me still trying to outrun themselves. Let it meet me right here, in this exact moment, with the kindness I forgot I needed and the peace I no longer have to earn. Let it stay with me longer than worry, louder than hurry. I want to learn how to be fully human in your presence, not the polished version of me that knows the right words, but the trembling one who barely knows how to pray and comes anyway. Help me believe that my silence still counts, that my sighs still speak, that the absence of strength is not the absence of faith. Let me rest in knowing you read the language of my weakness fluently, and you never turn away from it. When I stand in front of a mirror and feel like I am not enough, let something in me push back, not with pride, but with gentleness. Let me see the version of myself you see, not the one that checks all the boxes, but the one that keeps showing up, the one that chooses softness over performance, the one that lets down the mask and trusts that love will not leave when truth is revealed. Some days I do not want to inspire anyone. I just want to breathe. I want to be allowed to have a quiet day without being brave, a slow hour without pushing through, a moment that does not need a lesson, just a little air. Remind me that those days are not wasted, that they matter, too. That rest is not laziness and slowness is not a flaw, that not producing is not failing. Let me believe it in my bones, not just my brain. You never ask me to shine all the time. Some days you just ask me to be, to breathe in and out, to put one foot in front of the other, even if it is shaking, to whisper, help, and trust it reaches you before it even leaves my mouth. Let that be enough today. Let that be sacred. Father, I come to you today with something harder to name than pain, shame. That quiet, heavy feeling that creeps in when I believe I have failed you or disappointed myself too many times. I come carrying memories I wish I could erase, thoughts I wish I did not still have, mistakes I keep replaying. And though I know in my mind you are full of mercy, My heart sometimes struggles to believe it reaches all the way to me, not just to the best parts of me, but to the parts I keep hidden. I do not want to keep living as if I need to earn my way back into your presence. I do not want to keep avoiding grace because I think I am unworthy of it. I want to step into the light again, not because I have gotten everything right, but because you love me even when I do not. Help me unlearn the lie that I must be perfect to be embraced. Show me again that grace is not just a door I walk through once, but a room I live in daily. Let this moment be one where shame loosens its grip. Let your voice grow louder than the ones that accuse. Let your kindness sink deeper than my regret. Help me stop punishing myself for things you have already forgiven. Help me believe that if you say I am loved, then I do not have to keep asking if I deserve it. Let that love reach even the parts of me that have stopped reaching back. I want to believe that grace is stronger than memory, that what you have done for me is greater than what I have done wrong, that your mercy is more stubborn than my fear. Teach me how to stay in that truth, not just visit it for comfort, but live in it as reality when the voice of shame says I am too broken, too far gone, too late. Let your voice answer louder. You are still mine. You are still welcome. You are still enough. Help me stop rehearsing every moment I wish I could redo. Let me learn how to carry lessons without carrying guilt. Let me learn how to name what hurt without keeping it as my identity. I want to stop defining myself by the things that broke me. I want to stop identifying with wounds you have already begun to heal. Let me see myself not through the lens of the worst moments, but through the eyes of the one who stayed. And when I feel myself shrinking, hiding, pulling away from the love I need most, remind me that I do not have to run. I do not have to hide. I do not have to get everything in order before I return. Just one step, just one honest prayer, just one opening in my chest to let you back in. Help me live like someone who is already accepted, already welcome, already known, not trying to earn, just learning how to receive. Even now, I feel the tension between who I want to be and who I fear I am. But maybe that tension is where grace does its best work, not in the resolution, but in the reaching, in the messy middle, in the place where I still have questions, but dare to believe you have not changed your mind about me. Let that be enough today. Let that hope carry me. Let this be the day I stop treating grace like something I have to qualify for. Let it be the day I stop waiting to feel worthy and simply let you love me as I am. Right now. Not someday. Not when I am better. But here. This moment, as I am. Let that truth begin to reshape how I show up in this world. Let it quiet the shame that tells me to hide, and open the door to connection. Let it soften the way I speak to myself, interrupt the spiral of self-blame, and create room for joy again. I want to live from the grace I have been given, not just as a belief, but as a way of being, a way of breathing, a way of relating to others with more compassion, because I have received it for myself. Help me be more honest, not less, more open, not more guarded, more free, not more afraid. Let grace be the new gravity that pulls me forward, gently but consistently. Let it hold me when I can't hold myself. Let it remind me that you are not counting my failures. You are calling me forward, not into pressure, but into peace. Not into performance, but into presence. Into a relationship that has never been based on my perfection. Only your love. Let this be the beginning of a different rhythm. One where I stop trying to be enough and simply start believing that I am already loved. Where I no longer measure my progress by how strong I feel, but by how often I return to you, return to truth, return to the grace that is still holding me softly, steadily, completely. And if shame tries to creep back in tomorrow, let me not panic. Let me return again and again to the arms that never left. Let that returning be my strength, my story, my quiet testimony that love has always been stronger than fear, and grace has always been greater than guilt. Let it be the first thing I remember when I wake, and the last thing I release before I sleep. I am not beyond grace. I am not outside love. I am not too late, too far gone, or too broken to begin again. I am still held. Let that truth stay with me, not just in moments of prayer, but in the way I breathe. God, today I come to you not with clarity, but with questions, not with confidence, but with confusion. There are things I do not understand, moments that do not make sense, and situations I can seem to fix or figure out. I come not because I have answers, but because I need you to meet me in the middle of my not knowing. I bring you my uncertainty, not to have it solved right away, but to surrender it somewhere safe. I confess that I do not always trust well. I want to, but sometimes my fear speaks louder than faith. I try to plan my way out of pain, solve my way around struggle, or avoid the discomfort of waiting. And yet you invite me to something different, not a solution, but a surrender, a trust that does not depend on outcomes, a peace that is not tied to understanding, a love that stays even when nothing feels certain. So here I am again, with empty hands and a full heart, with questions I can resolve, but a hope that refuses to die. I am tired of pretending I know what is next. I would rather learn to rest in the presence of the one who already does. Help me trade control for connection. Help me stop worshiping clarity and start following peace. Let your presence be the answer when answers do not come. Remind me that faith is not the absence of confusion, but the decision to return to you in the middle of it. Remind me that I am allowed to feel unsure and still be loved. That trust is built not in moments of certainty, but in moments when I choose you anyway, when I say yes again, even though I do not know where it leads, when I show up with doubt in my voice, but devotion in my heart. Let this moment become a place of reorientation, a holy turning point where I stop waiting for things to make sense and start living like you are enough. Enough for the unknown, enough for the fear, enough for the things I cannot control. When I feel like I am drowning in details or stuck in overthinking, pull me back to the simplicity of your nearness. Let that be my anchor, not perfect plans, but constant presence. Help me see the difference between mystery and abandonment. Just because I do not understand does not mean you have gone silent. Just because I can see the way does not mean you have stopped leading. Let me learn how to trust what I can't trace, Let me stay open when all I want is to close off. Let me lean in when I want to give up. Let trust become my new language, not because I have mastered it, but because I keep practicing it, one choice at a time. If today holds questions I want to get answers to, let it also hold your voice. Speak through the H. Speak through the stillness. Speak through the scripture I forgot to read and the prayer I barely had words for. Speak in a way that bypasses logic and settles straight into my soul. I do not need a sign, I just need to know you have not changed. That is enough for now. Let peace become the thread I follow through the unknown. Let it pull me forward when I freeze, ground me when I spin, and soften me when I harden. Let me be okay with not knowing, not because I have numbed myself, because I have decided to trust deeper than I understand. So if all I have today is a breath and a question, let it be enough. If all I can offer is a shaky yes, let it still reach you. If all I can do is whisper I am still here, let that be worship. You are not asking for polished faith, just a present heart. So I offer mine again, as it is unresolved, unsure, but open. Let this trust shift how I move through this day. Let it slow me down when I try to rush ahead. Let it keep me soft when circumstances make me want to grow bitter. Let it hold me steady when I feel pulled in every direction. Let it teach me that peace is not found in having all the answers, but in being held by the one who does. And even if I never get the clarity I think I need, let me receive the comfort you are offering. Let me walk this road with a deeper calm, not because everything has been explained, but because I have stopped demanding that it must be. Let mystery no longer be my enemy. Let it become my invitation, my altar, my reminder that I am not God, and that is okay. Let that okayness expand inside me until it becomes confidence not in circumstances, but in you. Let it teach me that trusting you is not about knowing everything, but about staying close no matter what I do not know. Let that kind of trust become my peace, my guide, my quiet answer when everything else feels loud. Let it be the new sound in my soul, the one that says, even this, even now, even here, I am still safe because you are still good. And when I forget again tomorrow, let returning not feel like failure but like faith. Let my coming back to you be my victory. Let my breath be my reminder. Let the unknown be less terrifying because you are in it, too. Let my trust be bigger than my fear. Let that be enough for this day, not because I understand it, but because I know you are in it with me. Lord, there are days when the words do not come easily, when the thoughts are too tangled or too tender to name, when I sit in silence not because I do not want to pray, but because I do not know how. Today is one of those days. And still, I come, because I believe you hear more than just sentences. You hear sighs. You hear silence. You hear the H beneath the quiet and the longing behind every pause. Sometimes I feel pressure to say it all right, to explain, to confess, to articulate my thoughts with perfect clarity. But you never required eloquence. You ask for honesty, for presence, for willingness. So this is what I bring today: an open heart, a trembling spirit, a space that only you can fill. I trust that is enough. Meet me in the quiet places where language fades, when the tears say more than my vocabulary, when the weight of the week leaves me without expression. Help me stop forcing words and start trusting that even stillness speaks in your presence. Let my inability to pray perfectly become the space where you pray for me, with groanings deeper than I can understand. Let this quiet not feel like distance, but invitation, an invitation to stop performing and start resting, an invitation to stop striving and start listening. Let me believe that prayer does not begin with words, begins with turning toward you, with opening my attention, even when I have nothing eloquent to say, even when my soul is tired, even when I can find my voice. Teach me how to be still without shame, how to sit in silence without assuming I have failed. Let me remember that you are not disappointed by my quiet, but drawn closer by it, that you never confuse stillness for disinterest, or few words for lack of faith. If anything, maybe this hush is holy, maybe this pause is sacred, maybe what I can say right now is still being held. When I see others pray with power and passion, help me not compare. Help me trust that you do not rank prayers, you receive them all, whether spoken aloud or felt in the folds of the soul. Let that truth free me. Let it pull me out of pressure and back into intimacy. You do not need my performance, just my presence. And if all I have to offer today is my breath, let that be my prayer. Let it carry my my gratitude, my hope. Let it say what my mouth cannot. Let it rise to you like incense, quiet, real, and enough. And if I forget how to pray tomorrow, remind me that returning does not require a script, only a turning of my heart toward home. Let my silence be a sanctuary. Let the stillness become the place where I am reminded of who you are, not because I said it out loud, but because you never stopped being it. Let the absence of words make more room for presence, for peace, for connection. Let me stop measuring my prayers by how long they are or how loud they sound. Let me measure them by whether they bring me back to you. So here I am, not with a speech, but with surrender, not with strength, but with softness, not with answers, but with a willingness to be with you, even in the not knowing. Let that be enough for today. Let it teach me that I do not have to explain everything to be heard. I do not have to wrap my pain in paragraphs or lace my longing in poetry. I just have to show up, and showing up even in silence is worship, it is faith, it is sacred. Let that truth hold me gently. Let it give me permission to release the pressure. Let it remind me that your love is fluent in every language, including the one I have not found the words for yet. And in this holy hush, remind me that you are not waiting for performance. You are already near, already listening, already answering in ways that do not require sound. Let this silence grow soft inside me. Let it settle over the parts of me that feel raw and exposed. Let it be the gentle blanket that calms my mind, quiets my fears, and reminds me that I am never alone, not even here, not even in this, if the only prayer I can offer today is my presence. Let it be enough, If the only sound I make is a sigh, let it still rise to you. If the only thing I do is sit here and let you love me, let that be sacred too. Let me stop trying to earn rest and begin to receive it. Let me trust that silence is not the absence of prayer, but the fullness of surrender. Let this moment of stillness become a reminder that even when I lose my words, I never lose my worth. You are still listening. I am still seen. Let the quiet become the doorway to deeper intimacy. Let it teach me that I am still connected, still welcome, still wanted without needing to perform. Let every breath I take be a witness that I am still here, still loved, still part of the story you are writing. And in this stillness, let me be reminded that prayer was never about the words, but always about the relationship. Let that be enough. Let it be beautiful. Let it be heard not by volume, but by presence. Let my silence still bring me closer to you. Always. Father, as I rise from the quiet of yesterday's silence, I feel myself still carrying the softness it left inside me. That stillness did not give me every answer, but it steadied something in me. And now, as I step into this new moment, I realize how much I long to walk in that same gentle peace. Not the peace that waits for everything to settle, but the peace that moves with me, even through the unresolved. The kind of peace that is more like a companion than a circumstance. The kind that does not depend on clarity, but on closeness. And even as I admit that I do not feel it fully yet, I want to learn to walk in it. There are days when peace feels like a distant dream, like something reserved for those who have figured out how to live flawlessly. But I know that is not true. I know peace is not a reward, it is a gift. A presence. A breath. And today, I ask you to teach me how to carry it into the ordinary places of my life, into the small worries that try to unravel me, into the unexpected tensions that rise without warning, into the conversations that prick old wounds or stir new fears. Let peace be the gentle thread that holds me when everything else feels like it is pulling apart. Teach me how to pause before I react, how to breathe before I break, how to lean into your steadiness instead of spiraling into my own assumptions. Let peace interrupt me in ways that soften rather than shame me. Let it come to me like a hand on my shoulder, reminding me that I do not have to fight every battle inside my mind. I do not have to brace for impact each time uncertainty speaks louder than hope. I can let peace be the place where my heart returns when the world around me feels loud and demanding. I want to learn what it means to walk through this day with a settled spirit, even if my circumstances are not settled at all. I want to learn how to anchor myself in something deeper than emotion and steadier than logic, something quiet but unshakable, something that does not vanish when things get hard. And I know that something is you. Your presence has a way of making space where fear once lived. Your nearness has a way of smoothing out the frantic edges of my soul. Your voice has a way of calming storms that never respond to my own efforts. So, Father, let me walk slowly enough to feel the peace you are offering. Let me pay attention to the moments when I start to drift into worry. Let me notice when my breath shortens, my thoughts race, or my heart begins to brace for the worst. And in those moments, Draw me back, gently, kindly. Without judgment, bring me into a deeper rhythm one, where I move in step with you instead of rushing into the noise of my own fears. Let that rhythm become something my spirit learns to recognize, even when life feels chaotic. Help me release the belief that peace requires perfection. Help me let go of the idea that I must solve everything before I can breathe fully. Let me find rest in knowing that peace can exist even here, even now, even in the unfinished places. Let it remind me that I am not walking alone, and that nothing I face today must be carried by my strength alone. Let peace settle over the parts of me that still feel fragile. Let it seep into the cracks where old anxieties try to slip through. Let it reach the corners of my heart that I often avoid because they feel too sensitive, too unsteady, too vulnerable. And if I lose my peace halfway through the day, teach me not to panic. Teach me not to assume I have failed. Let returning to peace be as simple as returning to you. Let it be a breath, a whisper, a gentle turning of attention. Let it be a reminder that you have not moved, even when my heart has. Let this returning become my practice imperfect, honest, and sacred. Let it train my soul to trust that peace is always within reach, because you are always within reach. Let peace guide the way I speak. Slow my words when impatience rises. Steady my tone when frustration knocks loudly. Give me the grace to pause before I let fear shape my reactions. Let peace become the guard around my conversations, softening what needs softening and strengthening what needs courage. Let it shape the way I show up for others, not by pretending everything is fine, but by choosing to respond from a grounded place rather than a scattered one. Let peace also reach the places in me that I rarely speak about, the quiet insecurities, the hidden fears, the old memories that still sting. Let it remind me that healing does not have to be rushed, and that transformation often begins in the spaces I used to avoid. Let peace sit with me there, gently unveiling what needs to be touched and holding what needs to be carried. Let it remind me that nothing in me is too complicated for your kindness. And as I move forward today, let peace become the steady companion that walks beside me. Let it whisper truth when doubts grow loud. Let it soften the weight of the burdens I carry. Let it stand guard over my heart when anxiety tries to steal my breath. Let it remind me all throughout the day that I am held, guided, and never left to navigate life alone. Let peace not be something I chase, but something I host, something that grows in me because you are growing in me, something that becomes the quiet strength I learn to walk in even before I fully feel it. Let it become the gentle evidence that you are near, and that your presence is enough for whatever comes next. Lord, as I step into this new moment, I feel the gentle echo of yesterday's peace still lingering around me, like a soft imprint on my spirit. But even with that peace, I recognize the weight I continue to carry, quiet worries that cling to me. Invisible burdens I did not notice forming, responsibilities I took on without realizing how heavy they would become. Today, I bring those hidden weights into the open, not to justify them, or to pretend I can hold them together, because I know I cannot walk freely while clinging to what was never mine to carry. There are things I pick up automatically: expectations, fears, imagined outcomes, responsibilities that do not belong to me. Sometimes I hold on to them because I want to help, other times because I am afraid of what will happen if I do not. And then there are moments when I do not even realize I am carrying something until my heart feels tired for reasons I cannot name. So Lord, teach me to recognize the difference between what is mine and what is not. Teach me to release the burdens that were never meant to belong to my hands. Help me see how often I try to manage emotions that are not mine, control situations that were never meant for my power, or hold tightly to outcomes that are beyond my influence. I do not do these things because I doubt you. I do them because I forget that I am not supposed to do them alone. I forget that surrender is not weakness. It is alignment. It is choosing to trust instead of grasp. It is choosing to release instead of restrain. It is choosing to breathe instead of brace. So today, I choose release, even if my hands shake while letting go. Lord, help me lay down the pressure to fix everything. Help me release the fear of disappointing others. Help me stop rehearsing every possible outcome in my mind. Help me loosen my grip on things I was never designed to control. And when my heart tries to reach for those burdens again, as it sometimes does, gently remind me that letting go is not abandonment. It is faith. It is choosing the lighter path instead of the heavier one. It is trusting that you will do what I cannot, and that I am safe even when I am not holding everything together. Let this day become a quiet turning point, a moment where I learn to unclench what fear has tightened. A moment where I stop confusing responsibility with overwhelm. A moment where I stop assuming that carrying more makes me more faithful. Lord, give me the wisdom to know what is mine to hold, and the courage to release what is not out of defeat, but out of trust, not out of avoidance, but out of alignment. Let every release become a step into freedom. Teach me how to breathe deeper today, how to slow down when I feel myself rushing into anxiety, how to pause when the pressure rises inside me. Let that pause become my sacred reset, my invitation back to clarity. Let it remind me that I do not have to run ahead of your timing or hold on to things that exhaust my spirit. Let that breath be the doorway back into balance. Lord, show me how to lighten my inner world. Help me untangle the thoughts that keep looping in my mind. Help me soften the tight places inside me that have carried stress for far too long. Help me release the self-blame that attaches itself to every challenge. And help me be honest with myself about the burdens that silently drain me. I do not want to keep pretending I am fine when my soul is asking me to slow down. Teach me how to honor the limits you lovingly placed within me, not as flaws, but as signals, not as weaknesses, but as guidance. Give me the strength to walk away from what harms my peace. Give me the clarity to let go of what no longer aligns with the path you are shaping within me, and give me the tenderness to forgive myself for God. As I breathe into this new moment, I feel myself standing in the tender space between who I have been and who I am becoming. The letting go from yesterday still lingers inside me, like a quiet echo reminding me that release is a beginning, not an ending. And now, With lighter hands and a heart learning to unburden itself, I find myself reaching towards something deeper, the strength hidden in the places I once called weak. Strength that does not roar, but rises softly. Strength that does not demand, but endures. Strength that grows not from perfection, but from honest surrender. There were times when I believed weakness disqualified me. Times when I thought the fragile parts of me were proof that I was falling behind. Times when vulnerability looked too much like failure. But now I see that those tender places were never signs of inadequacy. They were invitations. Invitations to reach for grace instead of shame. Invitations to lean instead of collapse. Invitations to discover that you meet me most powerfully where I feel most unsure. So God, help me stop hiding the parts of me that tremble. Help me stop labeling myself with words you never spoke over me. Help me step into a strength that flows not from striving, but from being held. Teach me how to honor the moments when I feel small. Teach me that smallness is not the same as insignificance. Teach me that the places where I once felt overwhelmed can become the places where courage roots itself. Let this chapter of my journey be one where strength stops looking like force and starts looking like resilience. One where I learn to rise without rushing. One where courage is measured not by loudness, but by presence. God, show me how to stand in who I am becoming. When doubt whispers that I am still too fragile, remind me of everything I have survived. When fear insists that I am not enough, remind me that strength is not a competition, it is an awakening. When old memories try to convince me that nothing has changed, remind me of the quiet victories that have shaped me little by little. The moments when I said no to what once controlled me, the days I chose hope when heaviness tried to own me, the nights I kept breathing through storms, did not think I could weather. These things are not small. They are the beginnings of becoming. Let this be the day I start trusting the strength already growing within me, the strength that restores my voice even when it shakes, the strength that helps me show up when I feel unready, the strength that whispers, keep going, when weariness rises again. Let me believe that resilience is not something I must earn, it is something you cultivate inside me, one surrendered moment at a time. And even when I feel unsure, let me walk like someone who knows that quiet strength is still strength. God, teach me how to embrace the slow rebuilding of my inner world, the rebuilding that happens quietly, without applause, without witnesses, without evidence that anyone else can see. Help me stop rushing the process. Help me stop despising the parts of me still healing. Help me trust that transformation rarely looks dramatic while it is happening. Sometimes it looks like breathing deeper than the day before. Sometimes it looks like choosing gentleness instead of panic. Sometimes it looks like taking one small step when everything inside me wants to freeze. Let me learn to celebrate these quiet shifts. They are proof that I am not who I used to be. Let the strength you are growing in me reach the parts of my life I once avoided. Let it steady the conversations that used to intimidate me. Let it soften the fears that once dictated my choices. Let it guide the boundaries I need, but was too afraid to make. Let it help me show up for myself with the tenderness I offer others so easily. And when I stumble, when old patterns resurface, when fear tries to reclaim its old territory. Remind me that setbacks are not identity, they are simply moments. Moments that bring me back to dependence rather than despair. Help me recognize the strength that comes from admitting I need help. The strength that comes from asking for support instead of hiding behind independence. The strength that comes from choosing vulnerability instead of pretending. Let me be courageous enough to be real with myself. Real with the people who care. Real with you. Let authenticity become the soil where confidence grows. Slow and steady. God, let today be a turning point where I stop overestimating my weaknesses and start recognizing my growth. Let the strength you are shaping inside me speak louder than the fears I once carried. Let it whisper truth when shame tries to settle in. Let it anchor me when the world feels overwhelming again. Let it remind me that I am not fragile in the way I once believed. I am becoming resilient in the quiet, sacred way that only you could make possible. And as I move through this day, let every moment of steadiness remind me that strength does not always announce itself. Sometimes it appears as calm where panic once lived. Sometimes it shows up as clarity in a mind that used to spiral. Sometimes it feels like softness in places that were once guarded. Let these subtle shifts guide me. Let them reassure me. Let them become the gentle evidence that I am growing, healing, becoming one breath, one surrender, one small step at a time. Father, as I enter this new space of reflection, I feel the strength from yesterday still settling into my spirit, like a quiet foundation forming beneath me. It is not loud or dramatic, but steady in a way that feels new, almost unfamiliar. And as I sit with this growing steadiness, I realize something deeper rising in me. The longing to trust not just what I feel right now, but the path unfolding ahead of me, even when I cannot see where it leads. Trusting the unseen has always been the harder part, but maybe today is where I learn to walk with more openness, more surrender, more courage than before. There are places on this path that still feel shadowed, moments where the road curves before I am ready, days when the unknown feels like too much for my heart to hold. And yet, Father, I sense you inviting me into a different posture, a slower one, a more patient one where I do not rush to predict outcomes simply to soothe my fear. Teach me how not to fill silence with assumptions or gaps with worry. Teach me to let the unknown be the sacred place where trust grows, not the place where fear takes root. I do not want to keep living as though uncertainty is a threat. I want to learn how to breathe inside it, walk through it, trust beyond it. When I face moments that make me hesitant, help me pause instead of panic. Let that pause become the doorway to your reassurance. Let it whisper that I am not stepping into darkness alone. Let it remind me that the unseen is not unsafe simply because it is unfamiliar. Father, help me loosen the habit of imagining the worst. It has become too easy for my mind to run ahead of my spirit, painting scenarios that my heart is not meant to carry. When fear tries to predict disaster, teach me to interrupt the pattern gently. Help me shift my inner dialogue from what if everything goes wrong to what if this becomes a chapter of unexpected goodness. Help me remember that not every unknown is a danger. Sometimes it is a doorway, a beginning, a gift wrapped in uncertainty. Give me the courage to move forward even when the next step looks small or insignificant. Not every step of trust will feel profound. Not every moment of growth will look like transformation. Some will feel ordinary but holy in their simplicity. Teach me to honor those small steps, to recognize them as quiet victories, to celebrate them as signs that I am learning to walk in partnership with you rather than in fear of what might happen next. Father, when I feel the urge to control every detail, slow me down. When I start gripping at the edges of my plans, soften my hands. When I try to force clarity before it's time, remind me that clarity is not always the gift I need. Sometimes the deeper gift is learning to walk without it. Let today be a day where I stop demanding to see the whole map before taking the next step. Let it be enough to know that you walk with me, even when the road bends out of sight. Help me trust the timing I do not understand, the delays that frustrate me, the detours that confuse me, the quiet seasons where nothing seems to move. Let me stop interpreting slowness as abandonment or silence as distance. Let me remember that unseen work is still work, and hidden progress is still progress. Teach me how to wait without internal chaos. Teach me to rest even while I keep moving forward. Father, let this path become less frightening and more sacred as I walk it. Let the fog ahead remind me to stay present rather than anxious. Let every step become a communion with you. Let trust be something I build not by force, but by choosing to stay close, choosing to breathe, choosing to believe that I am guided even when I cannot see the guideposts. And when fear visits me again, as it sometimes will, let it not undo all I am becoming. Let it not convince me that I have gone backward. Let it instead remind me that trust is a practice, not a destination, a rhythm learned slowly, a relationship tended gently. Let the return to trust be as simple as lifting my eyes, slowing my breath, and remembering that I am led, held, and accompanied. Father, make the unknown feel less like a void and more like an unfolding, less like emptiness and more like possibility, less like a threat and more like a canvas where your goodness is still being written. And as I move deeper into this day, let the steps I take be steady, not because I know the future, but because I know I do not walk toward it alone. Let the truth settle into the deepest part of my being. Let it become the quiet courage that rises when the road curves again. Let it guide me into the kind of trust that grows not from certainty, but from companionship, your companionship, constant and near. Even here, even now, even in the unseen. Lord, as I step into this new moment, I feel the quiet trust from yesterday still humming inside me, a subtle reminder that I do not have to see the whole path to move with confidence. That trust has begun softening the edges of my fear, making room for something deeper to grow within me. And now, Lord, I find myself longing for the next layer of this journey, learning how to let your peace not only steady my heart, but shape the way I respond to the world around me. Not just internal calm, but outward grace. Not just quiet courage, but gentle presence. There are moments when life demands a reaction before I am ready to give one. Moments when words rise too quickly, when frustration knocks loudly, when tension tries to take the lead. And in those moments, Lord, I want to learn how to pause, how to breathe, how to let your peace hold my responses before emotion tries to shape them. Let my reactions no longer be ruled by fear or habit. Let them be shaped by the steadiness you are cultivating inside me. Teach me how to respond without rushing, how to speak without wounding, how to listen without defensiveness. Let your peace become the filter through which my thoughts move, the lens through which I see others, the anchor that steadies me before I choose my next word. I do not want to keep reacting from old wounds or unhealed fears. I want to move with intention, with kindness, with clarity that comes from being centered in you instead of overwhelmed by circumstance. Lord, help me notice the moments when my heart begins to tighten, when irritation forms before I know why, when I start building imaginary storms inside my mind. Slow me down before I escalate. Bring me back to that inner stillness you have been teaching me to nurture. Let that stillness interrupt the spiral. Let it remind me that I am not required to prove anything, protect everything, or control what was never mine to command. Let peace reshape the way I perceive challenges. Instead of assuming the worst, help me stay curious. Instead of fearing outcomes, help me look for possibilities. Instead of bracing for disappointment, help me remain open to unexpected grace. Let me approach conflicts with steadiness instead of panic, knowing I do not walk into difficult spaces by myself. Teach me to trust that you are already present in every situation I am afraid to face. Lord, show me how to hold space for others without losing myself. When someone brings their anxiety or anger to me, let me respond from a grounded place rather than absorbing their storm. Let me be a steady presence instead of a mirror to their chaos. Help me recognize when to speak and when to remain silent, when to comfort and when to step back, when to engage and when to let go. Let wisdom rise from the same peace that now steadies my inner world. Teach me how to extend grace to others and to myself when I stumble and respond from fear instead of peace. Help me not collapse into self-blame. Let me remember that growth rarely happens in straight lines. Let every misstep become an invitation to return, not a reason to retreat. Let the returning become easier than the regret. Let it become the natural rhythm of my soul. Drifting, noticing, correcting, aligning again. Lord, help me also embrace the quiet power of restraint, the strength required to not say the sharp word my emotions want to release. The courage it takes to hold a gentle tone when stress tempts me to harden, the wisdom to pause before reacting. Let that restraint not feel like suppression, but like freedom, the freedom to move differently than my impulses demand, the freedom to choose peace even when chaos feels more familiar. Let your peace guide the way I handle pressure when deadlines tighten. Let me stay steady when surprises disrupt my plans. Let me stay open when disappointment tries to wrap itself around my heart. Let me stay anchored, not emotionless, but grounded, not indifferent, but resilient. Let peace become the strength beneath my responses, the steady breath beneath my decisions. the quiet reminder that I am safe even when life feels unpredictable. Lord, let this be the day I stop waiting for perfect circumstances before choosing peace. Let it be the day I stop allowing external noise to dictate my internal posture. Let your peace not just comfort me, but transform me. Let it change the way I think, the way I speak, the way I move through ordinary hours. Let it become the quiet authority that guides my reactions, not forcefully, but gently, consistently, like a soft current redirecting the flow of my heart. And as I move into the rest of this day, let every conversation, every thought, every pause be touched by the peace you have been planting within me. That peace translate into patience where I once felt pressure, compassion where I once felt judgment, clarity where I once felt confusion. Let it be the evidence of the quiet work you are doing in me, subtle, steady, and transformative. Let it change not only how I feel, but who I am becoming. God, as I enter this moment of reflection, I feel the gentle shift happening inside me, the way peace has begun shaping my responses, calming what used to erupt, steadying what used to unravel so quickly. But even in this growth, I find another tender place rising to the surface. The part of me that still struggles to rest, not physical rest alone, but the deeper rest that allows my soul to unclench and my spirit to breathe freely. The kind of rest that is not about escaping life, but meeting it from a place of wholeness. And God, I want that kind of rest, but I still feel guilty when I reach for it. There is a part of me that equates rest with irresponsibility, as if slowing down means I am falling behind. There is another part that believes I must always be productive, always contributing, always proving that I am doing enough. And then there is the quiet voice inside me, the one that sounds like you inviting me to a different rhythm, a kinder one, a gentler one where rest is not earned, but received, one where pause is not punishment, but permission, one where stillness is not wasteful, but sacred. Teach me how to rest without arguing with myself about it. Teach me how to breathe without rushing into the next obligation. Let me learn to recognize when my spirit is tired long before my body collapses. Help me stop waiting for exhaustion to force me into stillness. Let rest become a choice I make, not out of desperation, but out of wisdom, out of care for the heart and mind you entrusted to me, out of understanding that a soul that never rests becomes a soul that slowly forgets how to live. God, show me how to release the pressure to always be strong, always be available, always be capable. Teach me that rest is not the opposite of strength, is what renews it. Teach me that quiet moments do not diminish my worth or disrupt my purpose. Let me embrace them without guilt, without feeling that I must justify them, without believing that I need to earn rest by first exhausting myself. Help me forgive myself for the years I spent running on empty, for ignoring the signals of my tired heart, for believing that rest was something other people deserved, but not me, for pushing past my limits as if they were inconveniences instead of boundaries meant to protect me. And as I forgive myself, help me also rebuild a healthier relationship with rest one that feels like nourishment instead of indulgence. When I begin to feel guilty for slowing down, interrupt the guilt with gentleness. When anxiety tells me I do not have time to rest, help me see that my spirit does not have time not to. When fear whispers that everything will fall apart if I step back, remind me that I am not the one holding the universe together. When shame insists that I should be doing more, teach me to counter it with compassion, not self-criticism. Let rest become the moment where I return to alignment instead of falling into doubt. God, help me find rest even in small pockets of the day. Rest in a slow breath. Rest in a quiet pause. Rest in the moment I unclench my thoughts. Let the weight slip off my shoulders for a moment. Rest in choosing not to rush. Rest in allowing myself to exist without producing something. Rest in remembering that I am loved for who I am, not for how much I accomplish. Let these small rests reshape me. Restore me. Remind me of what it feels like to be human and held. Teach me to rest emotionally too. Show me how to release the unspoken expectations, the silent worries, the internal pressure I place on myself. Let my mind settle in ways it has not in years. Let my thoughts loosen. Let my heart stop rehearsing things far beyond my control. Emotional rest be the place where I no longer fight battles that are not mine or replay scenarios that drain the life out of me. Let rest be the moment where I exhale the tension and inhale grace. God, let rest also reach the deeper layers, the ones where I carry stories I have never shared, fears I have never named, disappointments I have tucked away. Let rest sit with me in those places, not demanding explanations, not pushing for solutions, but simply being present. Let rest be what holds me gently as I acknowledge those old wounds. Let it remind me that healing does not come from constant effort, but from creating enough quiet space for wholeness to rise again. As I move through this day, let me notice when I am pushing too hard. Let me slow down without shame. Let me rest without needing permission from anyone but you. Let rest become the posture that shapes the way I show up in conversation, in decisions, in the way I care for myself and others. Let it help me respond with wisdom instead of urgency, compassion instead of depletion, clarity instead of exhaustion. And God, let this be the day I finally embrace the truth my heart has resisted for so long, that rest is not a reward for finishing everything. It is a rhythm I am created for, a rhythm that makes space for joy, for peace, for renewal, a rhythm that reconnects me to myself and to you, a rhythm that teaches me how to live from fullness instead of fatigue, a rhythm that gently whispers that I am safe, even when I am still, a rhythm that shows me that I am worthy of rest simply because I am yours. Lord, as my heart eases into this new moment, I feel the gentle thread that has been woven through every reflection before now, drawing me quietly forward. There is a calmness rising within me that feels different from the earlier chapters of this journey, as though you are widening the space of my inner world and inviting me to walk a little deeper, to see a little further, and to trust a little more than I believed possible. It is in this slow unfolding that I recognize how your guidance does not always arrive in bold signs or sudden clarity, but in steady whispers that shape my thoughts, soften my reactions, and refine the way I understand myself. I step into this chapter with the awareness that you have been teaching me to recognize what truly nourishes my spirit. Each morning prayer has quietly carved out room inside me, room for honesty, for healing, for renewal, and for an identity shaped by grace instead of fear. Today, I sense you nudging me to examine the hidden expectations I carry, the silent pressures I place upon myself, and the weight of old stories that try to dictate who I should be. I ask you to reveal where I am still living from places of self-protection instead of trust, from habit instead of intention, and from worry instead of wisdom. Help me understand, Lord, that transformation is not found in dramatic leaps, but in small, faithful steps. Guide me to choose the kind of thoughts that strengthen my patience, the kind of words that honor my growth, and the kind of actions that reflect the person you are gently shaping me to become. Let me release the urge to rush, to compare, to prove, or to grasp what is not meant to be mine. Instead, teach me to remain grounded in the present moment, where your presence is already enough and your direction is already unfolding. I open myself to the possibility that this day may bring conversations that challenge me, tasks that stretch me, or emotions that surprise me. Rather than resisting them, help me approach each experience with a steady heart and a clear mind. Remind me that strength does not always look like boldness. Sometimes it looks like choosing quiet understanding, choosing to listen before reacting, choosing to forgive even when frustration rises, or choosing to pause instead of forcing clarity where none yet exists. And when I encounter the parts of life that feel uncertain or incomplete, guide me to respond not with anxiety, but with curiosity. Let uncertainty become a place where I learn to rely on you more deeply rather than a place where I shrink back in fear. Let incompletion remind me that growth is a continuous unfolding, not a single moment of arrival. Let discomfort reveal the areas where I am being reshaped, strengthened, and prepared for new responsibilities, new relationships, or new levels of maturity. Lord, continue to steady me as I walk through this day. Steady my thoughts when they wander toward old worries. Steady my breathing when unexpected pressures rise. Steady my intentions so they align with the peace you are cultivating within me. And steady my heart so that it remains open to your guidance, open to grace, open to possibilities I cannot yet see, but can already feel forming like behind a thin horizon. If I stumble, remind me that stumbling does not mean failing. It simply means learning. If I grow tired, remind me that rest is not a retreat from purpose, but part of the rhythm that sustains it. If doubt brushes against my mind, remind me that doubt does not cancel faith. It invites me to reach for you with greater honesty. And if I feel alone at any moment, draw my attention back to the quiet certainty that you have been walking with me through every chapter of this journey, including this one. Lord, as I move forward from this moment, let my spirit become more attuned to your gentle corrections, your quiet encouragement, and your subtle redirections. Help me carry a sense of gratitude that does not depend on ideal circumstances, but grows from recognizing the gifts hidden in ordinary moments. Help me nurture a spirit of kindness toward myself, so that I no longer push myself with harshness, but guide myself with compassion, and help me walk lightly enough to notice beauty, humbly enough to learn, and confidently enough to step into the responsibilities you place before me. Let this chapter deepen my trust in the path you are building beneath my feet, one step at a time, like a soft morning trail unfolding under steady light. Father, as I step into this new stretch of reflection, my heart still carries the quiet steadiness you awakened in me earlier. It feels as though the insights from the previous moment have not faded, but are gently expanding, settling deeper into my spirit like soft ripples, continuing long after the initial touch. There is a tenderness within me that urges me not to rush this part of the journey, as if you are reminding me that some truths can only be received slowly, through patience and repeated surrender. I come to you now with a willingness to listen in a different way, not seeking answers as much as seeking alignment with what is true, what is meaningful, and what leads me closer to the person you are shaping me to become. There are layers within me, Father, that are only now beginning to loosen, layers formed from years of habits, assumptions, and quiet burdens I thought I had already released. Help me meet these inner places with compassion instead of frustration, with curiosity instead of judgment. Teach me to understand the subtle language of my emotions, the way they rise not to accuse me but to guide me. When I feel resistance, help me look deeper into its source rather than dismiss it. When I feel a sudden heaviness, help me recognize whether it comes from old fears trying to regain control or from you gently urging me to slow down and examine something I have overlooked. And when I feel an unexpected lightness, remind me that such moments are not random. They are often signs that I am walking more closely with your rhythm. Father, I ask you to help me let go of the silent expectations I have carried about what strength should look like. I am learning that real strength is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to remain open-hearted in the midst of it. It is choosing patience when my thoughts want to rush. It is choosing gentleness when frustration presses against my mind. It is choosing honesty when pretending would be easier. And it is choosing to trust your timing even when mine feels fragile. Guide me to recognize the difference between what is urgent and what is truly important. So often I find myself pulled by demands, pretend to matter more than they do, while the deeper work you are inviting me into waits quietly in the background. Help me pause before reacting, breathe before responding, and reflect before deciding. Let my actions be shaped by intention rather than impulse, by clarity rather than noise. And as I move through this day, Father, shape my attention so I can notice the subtle ways you speak. Let me catch the quiet reassurance hidden in a moment of stillness, the unexpected encouragement woven into a simple interaction, or the gentle redirection that comes through a challenge I did not anticipate. Help me recognize these not as coincidences, but as quiet threads of guidance stitched through the ordinary rhythm of my life. When doubts whisper, steady me. When old memories try to pull me back into patterns that no longer serve who I am becoming, give me the courage to respond differently. When I am tempted to measure myself by the progress of others, remind me that each life carries its own tempo, and mine is not meant to be compared but cultivated. When I worry about outcomes I cannot control, help me shift my focus to the steps I can take, trusting that you are shaping what lies beyond my reach. Father, let my inner world continue to open, expanding into a space where peace can take root more fully. Teach me to sit with unanswered questions without letting anxiety speak louder than wisdom. Teach me to welcome growth even when it arrives through discomfort. Teach me to value consistency more than intensity, understanding that long-term transformation often grows from small, faithful choices repeated over time. And if this day brings unexpected challenges, moments that test my patience, stir old insecurities, or stretch my emotional capacity, help me remember that each one can become a place of learning rather than a source of defeat. Remind me that growth is not linear, that healing does not follow a perfect sequence, and that progress can sometimes look like simply choosing not to give in to old fears. Father, allow this chapter to widen my awareness and deepen my trust. Let me carry a quiet confidence, not rooted in certainty, but in the knowledge that you walk beside me with a steadiness nothing in this world can replace. Let gratitude rise gently within me, not as forced optimism, but as recognition of the small mercies that have carried me here. And let my spirit stay open to your guidance, open to new understanding, open to the subtle ways you shape me through every hour that unfolds like morning light moving slowly across the day. Father, as I return to this final space of our journey together, there is no sense of ending in me, only a quieter beginning. The path has softened beneath my feet. My voice, once uncertain, has become still, not out of fear or fatigue, but out of reverence. I no longer feel the need to explain everything, to understand everything, or even to hold everything. Instead, I rest here with you, heart unclenched, willing simply to be. This morning ritual has not fixed all my problems. It has not made me immune to disappointment, nor has it erased the questions that still echo, but it has changed me, quietly, deeply, completely. It has taught me how to pause instead of panic, how to breathe without needing to grasp, how to listen beyond the noise, to a voice softer than thought, but truer than fear. Yours. I came into this journey carrying more than I knew how to name. Each chapter helped me place those burdens down, not all at once, but little by little. I leave lighter, not because life has changed, but because I have. Somewhere between surrender and silence, I learned how to hold things differently, not with clenched fists, but with open hands. Not with demand, but with trust. Thank you for being patient with me, for not rushing my process, for staying when I pushed you away, for speaking when I went silent, for comforting me in ways no language could capture. You met me in my doubts, in my restlessness, in my tears, and you never asked me to be anything other than here. Present. Real. This space has become more than prayer. It is sanctuary, a returning point, a rhythm I did not know I needed, one that now lives in me, even when I forget the words. It shows up in the way I notice beauty, in the way I speak more slowly, in the way I let go more freely. This stillness, this holy stillness, is now the soil beneath my next step. to the one who listened. Thank you for walking this gentle path beside me. Whether your faith is loud or silent, strong or searching, know that your presence here matters. You are part of this sacred unfolding. If these reflections have stirred something in your soul, I invite you to share your thoughts below. May your voice, however it trembles, become a thread in this quiet tapestry of grace we are weaving together. And if you have been nourished by these words, I ask with a full heart, please subscribe, share this offering with others, and let this space continue to be a place of reflection, rest, and renewal for all who need it. Faith is not a solo journey. We carry each other through presence, through story, through the courage to keep showing up. As I close this chapter not with a final word, but with a final breath, I sense that everything important has already been said in the quiet between the lines. You are near, you are enough, and I am still becoming. Let these final moments remain open like an unfinished prayer, drifting upward in the hush of morning. Let the questions stay tender. Let the answers come slow. Let the peace linger not just here, but in the choices we make after we rise. And now, as light breaks gently across the sky, not shouting but whispering its arrival, I breathe once more, not to end, but to begin again with you.